Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare Project LA. Our reading today is King John, and our players are Jason Rennie, Taylor Marr, Megan Wells, Julie Grossman, Ron Dorn, Nancy Pasquale, Chris Klein, Richard Conley, Emily Redmond Hall, Laura Cobalt, Mark Tracy, Hadley Hulka, Elizabeth Juvenal, and Nima Rad. And I'm Mary Carrick. So you know the routine. Sit back in that familiar easy chair, relax, and enjoy our reading of William Shakespeare's King John.
Act 1, Scene 1, England, a hall in the Royal Palace in London. Enter King John, Queen Eleanor, Pembroke, Essex, and Salisbury, with Chatillon of France. Now say, Chatillon, what would France with us?
Thus, after greeting speaks the King of France. In my behavior to the Majesty, the borrowed Majesty of England here.
A strange beginning, borrowed majesty.
Silence, good mother, hear the embassy.
Philip of France, in right and true behalf of thy deceased brother Geoffrey's son, Arthur Plantagenet, lays most lawful claim to this fair island and the territories, to Ireland, Poitiers, Anjou, Touraine, Maine, desiring thee to lay aside the sword, which sways usurpingly these several titles, and put the same into young Arthur's hand, thy nephew, in right royal sovereign.
What follows if we disallow of this?
The proud control of fierce and bloody war, to enforce these rights so forcibly withheld.
Here have we war for war, blood for blood, controlment for controlment. So answer, France.
Then take my king's defiance from my mouth, the farthest limit of my embassy.
Yes, bear mine to him, and so depart in peace. Where be thou as lightning in the eyes of France, for ere thou canst report, I will be there. The thunder of my cannon shall be heard. So hence, be thou the trumpet of our wrath and sullen presage of your own decay. An honorable conduct let him have, Pembroke, look to it, Farewell, Chatillon.
But now, my son, have I not ever said how that ambitious Constance would not cease till she had kindled France and all the world upon the right and party of her son? This might have been prevented and made whole with very easy arguments of love, which now the manage of two kingdoms must with fearful bloody issue arbitrate.
Our strong possession and our right for us.
Your strong possession much more than your right, or else it must go wrong with you and me. So much my conscience whispers in your ear, which none but God and you and I shall hear.
My liege, here is the strangest controversy come from the country to be judged by you that e'er I heard. Shall I produce the men?
Let them approach. Our abbeys and our priories shall pay this expedition's charge. What men are you?
Your faithful subject, I, a gentleman, born in Northamptonshire, and eldest son, I suppose, to Robert Falconbridge, a soldier, by the honor-giving hand of Coeur de Lion, knighted in...
What art thou?
The son and heir to that same Falconbridge.
Is that the elder, and art thou the heir? You came not of one mother, then, it seems?
Most certain of one mother, mighty king, that is well known. And, as I think, one father. But for the certain knowledge of that truth, I put you all to heaven and to my mother. Of that I doubt, as all men's children may.
Out on thee, rude man. Thou dost shame thy mother, and wound her honour with this diffidence.
I, madam? No, I have no reason for it. That is my brother's plea, and none of mine, the which, if he can prove, he pops me out at least from fair £500 a year. Heaven guard my mother's honour and my land.
A good blunt fellow. Why, being younger born, doth he lay claim to thine inheritance?
I know not why, except to get the land. But once he slandered me with bastardy. But where I be as true begot or no, that still I lay upon my mother's head. But that I am as well begot, my liege, fair fall the bones that took the pains for me. Compare our faces, and bejudge yourself. If old Sir Robert did beget us both, and were our father, and this son like him, oh, old Sir Robert, father, on my knee, I give heaven thanks I was not like to thee.
Ha! What a madcap hath heaven sent us Lear.
He hath a trick of Coeur de Lion's face. The accent of his tongue affecteth him. Do you not read some tokens of my son in the large composition of this man?
Mine eye hath well examined his parts, and finds them perfect, Richard. Sarah, speak. What doth move you to claim your brother's land?
Because he hath a half face like my father. With half that face would he have all my land. A half face growed £500 a year.
My gracious liege, when that my father lived, your brother did employ my father much.
Well, sir, by this you cannot get my land. Your tale must be how he employed my mother.
And once dispatched him in an embassy to Germany, there with the emperor to treat of high affairs touching that time. The advantage of his absence took the king, and in the meantime sojourned at my father's, where how he did prevail I shame to speak. But truth is truth. Large lengths of seas and shores between my father and my mother lay, as I have heard my father speak himself, when this same lusty gentleman was got. Upon his deathbed he by will bequeathed his lands to me, and took it on his death that this my mother's son was none of his. And if he were, he came into the world full 14 weeks before the course of time. Then, good my liege, let me have what is mine, my father's land as was my father's will.
Sirrah, your brother is legitimate. Your father's wife did after wedlock bear him, and if she did play false, the fault was hers, which fault lies on the hazard of all husbands that marry wives. Tell me, how if my brother, who, as you say, took pains to get this son, had of your father claimed this son for his, Well, in sooth, good friend, your father might have kept this calf, bred from his cow, from all the world. In sooth, he might. Then if he were my brother might not claim him, nor your father, being none of his, refuse him. This concludes, my mother's son did get your father's heir must have your father's land.
Shall then my father's will be of no force to dispose that child which is not his?
You have no more force to dispossess me, sir, than was his will to get me, as I think.
Whether hadst thou rather be a Falconbridge, and, like thy brother, to enjoy thy land, or the reputed son of Coeur de Lion, lord of thy presence, and no land besides?
Madam, and if my brother had my shape and I had his, Sir Robert's his like him, and if my legs were two such riding rods, my arms such eel skin stuffed, my face so thin that in mine ear I durst not stick a rose, lest men should say, look where 3 farthings goes, and to his shape were heir to all this land. Would I might never stir from off this place, I would give it every foot to have this face. I would not be Sir Nob in any.
I like thee well. Wilt thou forsake thy fortune, bequeath thy land to him, and follow me? I am a soldier, and now bound for France.
Brother, take you my land, I'll take my chance. Your face hath got £500 a year, yet sell your face for 5 pence, and 'tis dear. Madam, I'll follow you unto the death.
Nay, I would have you go before me there.
Our country manner, give our betters way.
What is thy name?
Philip, my liege, so is my name begun. Philip, good old Sir Robert's wife's eldest son.
From henceforth bear his name from whose form thou bearest. Kneel thou down, Philip, but rise more great. Arise, Sir Richard and Plantagenet.
Brother, by the mother's side, give me your hand. My father gave me honor, yours gave land. Now, blessed be the hour by night or day when I was got, Sir Robert was away.
The very spirit of Plantagenet. I'm thy grandam, Richard. Call me so.
Madam, by chance, but not by truth. What though? Something about, a little from the right, in at the window, or else o'er the hatch. Who dares not stir by day, must walk by night. And have is have, however men do catch. Near or far off, well won is still well shot. I am I, however I was begot.
Go, Falconbridge, now hast thou thy desire. A landless knight makes thee a landed squire. Come, madam, and come, Richard. We must speed for France, for it is more than need.
Brother, adieu. Good fortune come to thee, for thou wast got i' the way of honest. A foot of honor better than I was, but many foot of land the worse. Well, now I can make any Joan a lady. Good den, Sir Richard. God mercy, fellow. And if his name be George, I'll call him Peter. For new-made honor doth forget men's names. 'Tis too respective and too sociable for your conversion. Now your traveller, he and his toothpick at my worship's mess, and when my nightly stomach is feist, why then I suck my teeth and catechize my picket man of countries. My dear sir, thus leaning on mine elbow, I begin. I shall beseech you. That is question now. And then comes answer like an absey book. Oh, sir, says answer. At your best command, at your employment, at your service, sir. No, sir, says question. I, sweet sir, at yours. And so, ere answer knows what question would, saving in dialogue of compliment and talking of the Alps and Apennines, the Pyrenean and the River Po, it draws towards supper in conclusion. So, but this is worshipful society and fits the mounting spirit like myself. For he is but a bastard to the time that doth not smack of observation. So am I, whether I smack or no. And not alone in habit and device, exterior form, outward accoutrement, but from the inward motion to deliver sweet, sweet, sweet poison for the age's tooth, which though I will not practice to deceive, yet to avoid deceit I mean to learn, for it shall strew the footsteps of my rising. But who comes in such haste in riding robes? What woman post is this? Hath she no husband that will take pains to blow a horn before her? Oh me, 'tis my mother. How now, good lady? What brings you here to court so hastily?
Where is that slave, thy brother? Where is he that holds in chase mine honor up and down?
My brother, Robert, old Sir Robert's son? Colbrand, the giant, that same mighty man? Is it Sir Robert's son that you seek so?
Sir Robert's son? Aye, thou unreverent boy, Sir Robert's son. Why scornest thou at Sir Robert? He is Sir Robert's son, and so art thou.
James Gurney, wilt thou give us leave a while?
Good leave, good Philip.
Philip Sparrow, James. There's toys abroad. Anon, I'll tell thee more. Madam, I was not old Sir Robert's son. Sir Robert might have eat his part in me upon Good Friday and ne'er broke his fast. Sir Robert could do well, marry to confess, could he get me? Sir Robert could not do it. We know his handiwork. Therefore, good mother, to whom am I beholding for these limbs? Sir Robert never hoped to make this leg.
Hast thou conspired with thy brother too, that for thine own gain shouldst defend mine honor? What means this scorn, thou most untoward knave?
Knight, knight, good mother, Basilisco-like. What? I am dubbed. I have it on my shoulder. But mother, I am not Sir Robert's son. I have disclaimed Sir Robert and my land. Legitimation, name, and all is gone. Then, good my mother, let me know my father. Some proper man, I hope. Who was it, mother?
Hast thou denied thyself a Falconbridge?
As faithfully as I denied the devil.
King Richard Coeur de Lion was thy father. By long and vehement suit, I was seduced to make room for him in my husband's bed. Heaven lay not my transgression to my charge. Thou art the issue of my dear offense, which was so strongly urged past my defense.
Now, by this light, were I to get again, madam, I would not wish a better father. Some sins do bear their privilege on earth, and so doth yours. Your fault was not your folly. Needs must you lay your heart at his dispose, subjected tribute to commanding love, against whose fury and unmatched force the aweless lion could not wage the fight, nor keep his princely heart from Richard's hand. He that perforce robs lions of their hearts may easily win a woman's. I, my mother, with all my heart, I thank thee for my father, who lives and dares but say thou didst not well when I was got. I'll send his soul to hell. Come, lady, I will show thee to my kin, and they shall say when Richard me begot, if thou hadst said him nay, it had been sin. Who says it was, he lies. I say 'twas not.
Act 2, Scene 1, France, before the town of Angers. Enter with their forces Philip of France, Louis the Dauphin, Constance, Arthur, and Austria, wearing a lion's skin.
Before Angers, well met, brave Austria. Arthur, that great forerunner of thy blood. Richard, that robbed the lion of his heart, and fought the holy wars in Palestine. By this brave duke came early to his grave. And for amends to his posterity, at our importance, hither is he come to spread his colours, boy, in thy behalf, and to rebuke the usurpation of thy unnatural uncle, English John. Embrace him, love him, give him welcome hither.
God shall forgive you Coeur de Lion's death, the rather that you give his offspring life, shadowing their right under your wings of war. I welcome you with a past hand, but with a heart of unsustained love. Welcome before the gates of Andres, Duke.
A noble boy, who would not do thee right?
On thy cheek lay I this zealous kiss, as seal to this indenture of my love, that to my home I will no more return, till Angers and the right thou hast in France, together with that pale, that white-faced shore, whose foot spurns back the ocean's roaring tides, and coops from other lands her islanders, even till that England, hedged in with the main, that water-walled bulwark, still secure and confident from foreign purposes, even till that utmost corner of the West, salute thee for her king. Till then, fair boy, will I not think of home, but follow arms.
Oh, take his mother's thanks, a widow's thanks, till your strong hand shall help to give him strength to make a more requital of your love.
The peace of heaven is theirs that lift their swords in such a just and charitable war.
Well then, to work. Our cannon shall be bent against the brows of this resisting town. Call for our chiefest men of discipline to cull the plots of best advantages. We'll lay before this town our royal bones, wade to the marketplace in Frenchman's blood, but we will make it subject to this boy.
Stay for an answer to your embassy, lest unadvised you stain your swords with blood. My Lord Chatillon may from England bring that right in peace, which here we urge in war. And then we shall repent each drop of blood, that hot rash haste so indirectly shed.
Nah. A wonder, lady, lo upon thy wish, our messenger Chatillon is arrived. What England says, say briefly, gentle lord. We coldly pause for thee, Chatillon. Speak.
Then turn your forces from this paltry siege and stir them up against a mightier task. England, impatient of your just demands, hath put himself in arms. The adverse winds, whose leisure I have stayed, have given him time to land his legions all as soon as I. His marches are expedient to this town. His forces strong, his soldiers confident. With him along is come the mother queen and Ati, stirring him to blood and strife. With her, her niece, the Lady Blanche of Spain. With them, a bastard of the king's deceased, and all the unsettled humors of the land, rash, inconsiderate, fiery voluntaries with ladies' faces and fierce dragon spleens, have sold their fortunes at their native homes, bearing their birthrights proudly on their backs, to make a hazard of new fortunes here. In brief, a braver choice of dauntless spirits than now the English bottoms have wafted over did never float upon the swelling tide to do offense and scathe in Christendom. The interruption of their churlish drums cuts off more circumstance. They are at hand to parley or fight, therefore prepare.
How much unlooked for is this expedition?
By how much unexpected, by so much we must awake endeavor for defense. For courage mounteth with occasion. Let them be welcome then. We are prepared.
Peace be to France, if France in peace permit our just and lineal entrance to our own. If not, bleed, France, and peace ascend to heaven, whilst we, God's wrathful agent, do correct their proud contempt that beats his peace to heaven.
Peace be to England, if that war return from France to England, there to live in peace. England we love. And for that England's sake, for this burden of our armor here, we sweat. This toil of ours should be a work of thine. But thou from loving England art so far that thou hast underwrought this lawful king. Cut off the sequence of posterity, outfaced infant state, and done a rape upon the maiden's virtue of the crown. Look here upon thy brother Geoffrey's face. These eyes, these brows were molded out of these. This little abstract of contains that large, which died in Geoffrey, and the hand of time shall draw this brief into a huge volume, that Geoffrey was thy elder born, and this his son. England was Geoffrey's right, and this is Geoffrey's in the name of God. How comes it then that thou art called a king? When living blood doth these temples beat, which owe the crown that thou overmasterest.
From whom hast thou this great commission, France, to draw my answer from thy articles?
From that supernal judge that stirs good thoughts in any breast of strong authority, to look into the blots and stains of rights. That judge has made me guardian to this boy, under whose warrant I impeach thy wrong, and by whose help I mean to chastise it.
Lack, thou dost usurp authority.
Excuse it is to beat usurping down.
Who is it thou dost call usurper, France?
Let me make answer. Thy usurping son.
Out, insolent. Thy bastard shall be king, that thou mayst be a queen and check the world.
My bed was ever to thy son as true as thine was to thy husband. And this boy, liker in feature to his father Geoffrey, than thou and John in manners being as like as rain to water or devil to his dam. My boy a bastard? By my soul, I think his father never was so true begot. It cannot be. And if thou wert his mother.
He is a good mother, boy, that blots thy father.
There's a good grandam boy that would blot thee.
Peace.
Hear the crier.
What the devil art thou?
One that will play the devil, sir, with you, and he may catch your hide and you alone. You are the hare of whom the proverb goes, whose valor plucks dead lions by the beard. I'll smoke your skin coat and I catch you right. Sirrah, look toot. Faith, I will. Faith.
Oh, well, did he become that lion's robe that did disrobe the lion of that robe?
It lies as slightly on the back of him as great Alcides' shoes upon an ass. But, ass, I'll take that burden from your back or lay on that shall make your shoulders crack.
What cracker is this same that deafs our ears with this abundance of superfluous breath?
Louis, determine what we shall do straight.
Women and fools, break off your conference. King John, this is the very sum of all. England and Ireland, Anjou, Touraine, Maine, in right of Arthur do I claim of thee. Wilt thou resign them and lay down thy arms?
My life as soon. I do defy thee, France. Arthur of Brittany, yield thee to my hand, and out of my dear love I'll give thee more than e'er the coward hand of France can win. Submit thee, boy.
Come to thy grandam, child.
Do, child, go to it, grandam, child. Give grandam kingdom, and it, grandam, will give a plum, a cherry, and a fig. There's a good grandam.
Good my mother, peace. I would that I were laid low in my grave. I am not worth this coil that's made for me.
His mother shames him so. Poor boy, he weeps.
Now shame upon you, where'er she does or no. His grandam wrongs and not his mother's shames draws those heaven-moving curls from his poor eyes, which heaven shall take in the nature of a fee. I, with these crystal beads, heaven shall be bribed to do him justice and revenge on you.
Thou monstrous slanderer of heaven and earth!
Thou monstrous injurer of heaven and earth! Call me not a slanderer. Thou and thine usurp the dominions, royalties, and rights of this oppressed boy. This is thy eldest son, infortunate in nothing but in thee. Thy sins are visited in this poor child. The canon of the law is laid on him. Being but the second generation removed from thy sin-conceiving womb.
Bedlam have done.
I have but this to say, that he is not only plagued for her sin, but God hath made her sin and her plague on this removed issue plagued for her. And with her plague, her sin is his injury. Her injury, the beetle to her sin, all punished in the person of this child, and all for her, a plague upon her.
Thou unadvised scold, I can produce a will that bars the title of thy son.
Aye, who doubts that? A will, a wicked will, a woman's will, a cankered grandam's will.
Peace, lady, pause or be more temperate. It ill beseems this presence to cry aim to these ill-tuned repetitions. Some trumpet summon either to the walls these men of Angiers. Let us hear them speak, whose title they admit, Arthur's or John's.
Who is it that hath warned us to the walls?
'Tis France for England.
England for itself. You men of Angiers and my loving subjects.
You loving men of Angiers, Arthur's subjects, our trumpet called you to this gentle power.
For our advantage. Therefore, hear us first. These flags of France that are advanced here before the eye and prospect of your town have hither marched to your endamagement. The cannons have their bowels full of wrath, and ready mounted are they to spit forth their iron indignation against your walls. All preparation for a bloody siege and merciless proceeding by these French confronts your eyes, your winking gates, and but for our approach, those sleeping stones that as a waist doth girdle you about by the compulsion of their ordinance by this time from their fixed beds of lime had been dishabited and white havoc made for bloody power to rush upon your peace. But on the sight of us, your lawful king, who painfully with much expedient march have brought a countercheck before your gates to save unscratched your city's threatened cheeks, behold, the French, amazed, vouchsafe a parle. And now, instead of bullets wrapped in fire to make a shaking fever in your walls, they shoot but calm words, folded up in smoke, to make a faithless error in your ears, which trust accordingly, kind citizens. And let us in, your king, whose labeled spirits, for wearied in this action of swift speed, craves harborage within your city walls.
When I have said, make answer to us both. Lo, in this right hand, whose protection is most divinely vowed upon the right of him it holds, stands young Plantagenet, son to the elder brother of this man, and king o'er him and all that he enjoys. For this downtrodden equity we tread in warlike march these greens before your town, being no further enemy to you than a constraint of hospitable zeal, in the relief of this oppressed child religiously provokes. Be pleased then to pay that duty which you truly owe to him that owes it, namely this young prince. And then our arms, like to a muzzled bear, save in aspect, hath all offense sealed up. Our cannon's malice vainly shall be spent against the invulnerable clouds of heaven. And with a blessed and unvexed retire, with unbacked swords and helmets all unbruised, we will bear home that lusty blood again, which here we have come to spout against your town, and leave your children, wives, and you in peace. But if you fondly pass our proffered offer, 'tis not the roundure of your old-faced walls can hide you from our messengers of war. Through all these English and their discipline were harbored in their rude circumference. Then tell us, shall your city call us lord on that behalf which we have challenged it? Or shall we give the signal to our rage and stalk in blood to our possession?
In brief, we are the King of England's subjects. For him and in his right, we hold this town.
Acknowledge then the king and let me in.
That we cannot, but he that proves the king, to him we will prove loyal. Till that time have we rammed up our gates against the world.
Doth not the crown of England prove the king? And if not that, I bring you witnesses, twice 15,000 hearts of English breed.
Bastards and else.
To verify our titles with their lives.
As many and as well-born bloods as those?
Some bastards too.
Stand in his face to contradict his claim.
Till you compound whose right is worthiest, we for the worthiest hold the rights from both.
And God forgive the sin of all those souls that to their everlasting residence before the dew of evening fall shall fleet in dreadful trial of our kingdom's king.
Amen. Amen. Mount chevaliers, to arms!
Saint George, that swings the dragon in air since sits on horseback at mine hostess door, teach us some fence. Sirrah, were I at home at your den, Sirrah, with your lioness, I would set an ox head to your lion's hide and make a monster of you.
Peace, no more.
Oh, tremble, for you hear the lion roar.
Up higher to the plain, where we'll set forth in best appointment all our regiments.
Speed then, to take advantage of the field.
It shall be so. And at the other hill, command the rest to stand. God and our rights.
You men of Angiers, you men of Angiers, open wide your gates and let young Arthur, Duke of Brittany, in, who by the hand of France this day hath made much work for tears in many an English mother, whose sons lie scattered on the breeding ground. Many a widow's husband groveling lies coldly embracing the discolored earth, and victory with little loss doth play upon the dancing banners of the French, who are at hand, triumphantly displayed, to enter conquerors and to proclaim Arthur of Brittany, England's king and yours.
Rejoice, you men of Angiers. Ring your bells. King John, your king and England's, doth approach, commander of this hot, malicious day. Their armors that marched hence so silver bright, hither return all gilt with Frenchmen's blood. There stuck no plume in any English crest that is removed by a staff of France. Our colors do return in those same hands that did display them when we first marched forth. And like a jolly troop of huntsmen come our lusty English, all with purpled hands, dyed in the dying slaughter of their foes. Open your gates and give the victors way.
Heralds, from off our towers we might behold, from first to last, the onset and retire of both your armies, whose equality by our best eyes cannot be censured. Blood hath brought blood, and blows have answered blows. Strength matched with strength, and power confronted power. Both are alike, and both alike we like. One must prove greatest. While they weigh so even, we hold our town for neither, yet for both.
France, hast thou yet more blood to cast away? Say, shall the current of our right roam on, whose passage, vexed with thy impediment, shall leave his native channel and or swell with course disturbed e'en thy confining shores, unless thou let his silver water keep a peaceful progress to the ocean?
England, thou hast not saved one drop of blood in this hot trial more than we of France, rather lost more. And by this hand I swear, that sways the earth this climate overlooks, before we will lay down our just-born arms, we'll put thee down against whom these arms we bear, or add a royal number to the dead, gracing the scrolls that tell of this war's loss, with slaughter coupled to the name of kings.
Majesty, how high thy glory towers when the rich blood of kings is set on fire. Oh, now doth death line his dead chaps with steel. The swords of soldiers are his teeth, his fangs, and now he feasts, mousing the flesh of men in undetermined differences of kings. Why stand these royal fronts amazed thus? Cry havoc, kings! Back to the stained field, you equal potents, fiery kindled spirits. Then let confusion of one part confirm the other's peace. Till then, blows, blood, and death.
Whose party do the townsmen yet admit?
Speak, citizens, for England. Who's your king?
The King of England, when we know the king.
Know him in us, that here hold up his right.
In us, that are our own great deputy and bear possession of our person here, lord of our presence, Angiers, and of you.
A greater power than we denies all this. Until it be undoubted, we do lock our former scruple in our strong barred gates. Kings of our fear, until our fears resolved, be by some certain king purged and deposed.
By heaven, these scrolls of Angiers flout you, kings, and stand securely on their battlements, as in a theater, whence they gape and point at your industrious scenes and acts of death. Your royal presences be ruled by me. Do like the mutines of Jerusalem, be friends a while, and both conjointly bend your sharpest deeds of malice on this town. By east and west, let France and England mount their battering cannon, charge it to the mouths, till their soul-fearing clamors have brawled down the flinty ribs of this contemptuous city. I'd play incessantly upon these jades, even till unfenced desolation leave them as naked as the vulgar air. That done, dissever your united strengths, and part your mingled colors once again. Turn face to face, and bloody point to point. Then, in a moment, fortune shall cut forth out of one side her happy minion, to whom in favor she shall give the day, and kiss him with a glorious victory. How like you this wild counsel, mighty states? Smacks it not something of the policy?
Now, by the sky that hangs above our heads, I like it well. France, shall we knit our powers and lay this Angiers even with the ground, then after fight who shall be king of it?
And if thou hast the mettle of a king, being wronged as we are by this peevish town, turn thou the mouth of thy artillery, as we will ours, against these saucy walls. And when that we have dashed them to the ground, why then defy each other and pell-mell make work upon ourselves for heaven or hell.
Let it be so. Say, where will you assault?
We from the west will send destruction into this city's bosom.
I from the north.
Asunder from the south shall rain our drift of bullets on this town.
Oh, prudent discipline. From north to south, Austria and France shoot in each other's mouth. I'll stir them to it. Come, away, away!
Hear us, great kings. Vouchsafe a while to stay, and I shall show you peace and fair-faced league when near this city without stroke or wound. Rescue those breathing lives to die in beds, that here come sacrifices for the field. Persever not, but hear me, mighty kings.
Speak on with favor, we are bent to hear.
That daughter there of Spain, the Lady Blanche, is near to England. Look upon the years of Louis the Dauphin and that lovely maid. If lusty love should go in quest of beauty, where should he find it fairer than in Blanche? If zealous love should go in search of virtue, where should he find it purer than in Blanche? If love ambitious sought a match of birth, whose veins bound richer blood than Lady Blanche? Such as she is in beauty, virtue, birth, is the young Dauphin every way complete. If not complete of, say he is not she, and she again wants nothing to name want, if want be it not that she is not he. He is the half part of a blessed man, left to be finished by such as she, and she a fair divided excellence, whose fullness of perfection lies in him. Oh, two such silver currents when they join do glorify the banks that bound in them, and two such shores to two such streams made one. Two such controlling bounds shall you be, kings, to these two princes, if you marry them. This union shall do more than battery can to our fast-closed gates, for at this match with swifter spleen than powder can enforce, the mouth of passage shall we fling wide ope and give you entrance. But without this match, the sea enranged is not half so deaf, lions more confident, mountains and rocks more free from motion, no, not death himself in mortal fury, half so peremptory as we to keep this city.
Here's a stay that shakes the rotten carcass of old death out of his rags. Here's a large mouth indeed that spits forth death that mountains, rocks, and seas, talks as familiarly of roaring lions as maids of 13 do of puppy dogs. What cannoneer begot this lusty blood? He speaks plain cannon fire and smoke and bounce. He gives the bastonada with his tongue. Our ears are cudgel, not a word of his but buffets better than a fist of France. Zoons, I was never so bethumped with words since I first called my brother's father dad.
Son, list to this conjunction. Make this match. Give with our niece a dowry large enough, for by this knot thou shalt so surely tie thy now assured assurance to the crown, that yon green boy shall have no son to ripe the bloom that promiseth a mighty fruit. I see a yielding in the looks of France. Mark how they whisper. Urge them while their souls are capable of this ambition, lest zeal, now melted by the windy breath of soft petitions, pity, and remorse, cool and congeal again to what it was.
Why answer not the double majesties this friendly treaty of our threatened town?
Speak England first, that hath been forward first, to speak unto this city. What say you?
If that the Dauphin here, thy princely son, can in this book of beauty read I love, her dowry shall weigh equal with a queen. For Anjou, a fair Touraine, Maine, Poitiers, and all that we upon this side the sea, except this city, now by us besieged, find liable to our crown and dignity, shall gild her bridal bed and make her rich in titles, honors, and promotions, as she in beauty, education, blood, holds hand with any princess in the world.
What sayest thou, boy? Look into the lady's face.
I do, my lord. And in her eye, I find a wonder, or wondrous miracle, the shadow of myself formed in her eye, which, being but the shadow of your son, becomes a sun, and makes your son a shadow. I do protest, I never loved myself till now, infixed I beheld myself, drawn in the flattering table of her eye.
Drawn in the flattering table of her eye? Hanged in the frowning wrinkle of her brow and quartered in her heart. He doth espy himself love's traitor. This is pity now, that hanged and drawn and quartered there should be in such a love so vile allowed as he.
My uncle's will in this respect is mine. If he see aught in you that makes him that anything he sees which moves his liking, I can with ease translate it to my will. Or if you will, to speak more properly, I will enforce it easily to my love. Further, I will not flatter you, my lord, that all I see in you is worthy love. Than this, that nothing do I see in you, though churlish thoughts themselves should be your judge, that I can find should merit any hate.
What say these young ones? What say you, my niece?
That she is bound in honor still to do what you in wisdom so vouchsafe to say.
Speak then, Prince Dauphin. Can you love this lady?
Nay, ask me if I can refrain from love, for I do love her most unfeignedly.
And then do I give Aucassin, Touraine, Maine, Poitiers, and Anjou, these 5 provinces, with her to thee, and this addition more, full 30,000 marks of English coin. Philip of France, if thou be pleased withal, command thy son and daughter to join hands.
It likes us well. Young princes, close your hands.
And your lips too, for I am well assured that I did so when I was first assured.
Now, citizens of Angiers, ope your gates, let in that amity which you have made, for at St. Mary's Chapel presently, the rites of marriage shall be solemnized. Is not the Lady Constance in this troop? I know she is not, for this match made up, her presence would have interrupted much. Where is she and her son? Tell me who knows.
She is sad and passionate at your highness's tent.
By my faith, this league that we have made will give her sadness very little cure. Brother of England, how may me content this widow lady? In her right we came, which we, God knows, have turned another way to our own advantage.
We will heal up all, for we'll create young Arthur, Duke of Brittany and Earl of Richmond, and this rich fair town we make him lord of. Call the Lady Constance, some speedy messenger bid her repair to our solemnity. I trust we shall, if not fill up the measure of her will, yet in some measure satisfy her so that we shall stop her exclamation. Go we as well as haste will suffer us to this unlooked for, unprepared pomp.
Mad world, mad kings, mad composition. John, to stop Arthur's title in the hole, hath willingly departed with a part. And France, whose armor conscience buckled on, whom zeal and charity brought to the field as God's own soldier, rounded in the ear with that same purpose changer. That sly devil, that broker that still breaks the pate of faith, that daily break vow, he that wins of all, of kings, of beggars, old men, young men, maids, who having no external thing to lose but the word maid, cheats the poor maid, that smooth-faced gentleman, tickling commodity. Commodity, the bias of the world. The world, who of itself is peased well, made to run even on even ground, till this advantage, this vile drawing bias, this sway of motion, this commodity, makes it take head from all indifferency, from all direction, purpose, course, intent. And this same bias, this commodity, this bawd, this broker, this all-changing word, clapped on the outward eye of fickle France, hath drawn him from his own determined aid, from a resolved and honorable war to a most base and vile concluded peace. And why rail I on this commodity? But because he hath not wooed me yet. Not that I have the power to clutch my hand when his fair angels would salute my palm, but for my hand, as unattempted yet, like a poor beggar raileth on the rich. Well, as I am a beggar, I will rail and say there is no sin but to be rich. And being rich, my virtue then shall be to say there is no vice but beggary. Since kings break faith upon commodity, gain be my lord, for I will worship thee.
Act 3, Scene 1, France. King Philip's pavilion outside of Angiers. Enter Constance, Arthur, and Salisbury.
Gone to be married? Gone to swear a peace? False blood to false blood joined, gone to be friends? Shall Louis have Blanche and Blanche those provinces? It is not so. Thou hast misspoke, misheard. Be well advised. Tell o'er that tale again. It cannot be. Thou dost but say 'tis so. I trust I may not trust thee, for thy word is but the vain breath of a common man. Believe me, I do not believe thee, man. I have a king's oath to the contrary. Thou shalt be punished for thus flighting me, for I am sick and capable of fears, oppressed with wrongs and therefore full of fears, a widow, husbandless, subject to fears, a woman naturally born to fears. And though thou now confess thou didst but jest with my vexed spirits, I cannot take a truce, but they will quake and tremble all this day. What dost thou mean by the shaking of thy head? Why dost thou look so sadly on my son? What means that hand upon that breast of thine? Why holds thine eye that lamentable rune like a proud river appearing o'er his bounds? But these sad signs confirmers of thy words? Then speak again, but not all thy former tale, but this one word, whether thy tale be true.
As true as I believe you think them false, that give you cause to prove my saying true.
Oh, if thou teach me to believe this sorrow, teach thou this sorrow how to make me die, and let belief and life encounter, as doth the fury of these two desperate men in the very meeting fall and die. Louis, Mary Blanche, oh boy, then where art thou? France, friend with England, what becomes of me? Fellow, be gone, I cannot brook thy sight. This news has made me a most ugly man.
What other harm have I, good lady, done, but have spoke the harm that is by others done?
Which harm within itself so heinous is, as it makes harmful all that speaks of it.
I do beseech you, madam, be content.
If thou that biddest me be content were grim, ugly and slanderous to thy mother's womb, full of unpleasing blots and sightless stains, lame, foolish, crooked, swarth, prodigious, patched with foul moles and eye-offending marks, I would not care. I then would not be content, for then I would not love thee, no, nor thou become thy great birth, nor deserve a crown. But thou art fair, and at thy birth, dear boy, nature and fortune joined to make thee great. Of nature's gifts thou mayest with lilies boast, and with the half-blown rose, but fortune, oh, she is corrupted, changed and won from thee. She adulterates hourly with thine Uncle John, and with her golden hand hath plucked on France to tread down fair respect of sovereignty, and made his majesty the bawd to hers. France is a bawd to fortune and King John, that strumpet fortune, that usurping John. Tell me, thou fellow, is not France forsworn? Envenom him with words, or get thee gone, and leave these woes alone, which I alone am bound to overbear.
Pardon me, madam. I may not go without you to the king's.
Thou mayest, thou shalt. I will not go with thee. I will instruct my sorrows to be proud, for grief is proud and makes his owner stoop. To me and to the state of my great grief, let kings assemble, for my grief so great that no supporter of the huge firm earth can hold it up. Here I and my sorrow sit. Here is my throne. Bid kings come bow to it.
'Tis true, fair daughter, and this blessed day ever in France shall be kept festival. To solemnize this day, the glorious sun stays in his course and plays the alchemist, turning with splendor of his precious eye the meager, cloddy earth to glittering gold. The yearly course that brings this day about shall never see it but a holy day.
A wicked day, and not a holy day. What hath this day deserved? What hath it done that in it golden letters should be set among the high tides in the calendar? Nay, rather turn this day out of the week, this day of shame, oppression, perjury. Or if it must stand still, let wives with child pray that their burdens may not fall this day, lest their hopes prodigiously be crossed. But on this day, let seamen fear no wrack, no bargains break, that there are not made this day, all things become, come to ill end. Yea, faith itself to hollow falsehood change.
By heaven, lady, you shall have no cause to curse the fair proceedings of this day. Have I not pawned to you, my majesty?
You have beguiled me with a counterfeit, resembling majesty, which being touched and tried proves valueless. You are forsworn. You came in arms to spill mine enemy's blood, but now in arms you strengthen it with yours. The grappling vigor and rough frown of war, in cold amity and painted peace, and our oppression hath made up this league. Arm, you heavens, against these perjured kings. A widow cries, be husband to me, God! Let not the hours of this ungodly day wear out the days in peace, but ere sunset, set armed discord twixt these perjured kings. Oh, hear me.
Lady Constance, peace.
War, no, peace. Peace to me a war. Oh, Limoges, oh, Austria, Thou dost shame that bloody spoil, thou slave, thou wretch, thou coward. Thou little valiant, great in villainy, thou ever strong upon the stronger side, thou fortune's champion, that dost ever fight, but when her humorous ladyship is by to teach thee safety, thou art perjured too. The smoothness of greatness, what a fool art thou, a ramping fool, to brag and stamp and swear upon my party, thou cold-blooded slave. Thou hast not spoke like thunder on my side, been sworn my soldier, bidding me depend upon thy stars, thy fortune, and thy strength. And dost thou now fall to my foes? Thou wear a lion's hide, doff it off for shame, and hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
Oh, that a man should speak those words to me.
A calfskin on those recreant limbs.
Thou darest not so, villain, for thy life.
And hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
We like not this. Thou dost forget thyself.
Here comes the holy legate of the Pope.
Hail, you anointed deputies of heaven. To thee, King John, my holy errand is. I, Pandulph, a fair Milan cardinal, and from Pope Innocent, the legate here, do in his name religiously demand why thou, against the church our holy mother, so willfully dost spurn and force perforce keep Stephen Langton, chosen Archbishop of Canterbury, from that holy see. This, in our foresaid Holy Father's name, Pope Innocent, I do demand of thee.
What earthly name to interrogatories can task the free breath of a sacred king? Thou canst not, Cardinal, devise a name so slight, unworthy, and ridiculous to charge me to an answer as the Pope. Tell him this tale, and from the mouth of England add this much more, that no Italian priest shall tithe or toll in our dominions. But as we, under God, our supreme head, so under him that great supremacy where we do reign we will alone uphold without the assistance of a mortal hand. So tell the Pope, all reverence set apart to him and his usurped authority.
Brother of England, you blaspheme in this.
So you and all the kings of Christendom are led so grossly by this meddling priest, dreading the curse that money may buy out, and by the merit of vile gold, dross, dust, purchase corrupted pardon of a man who in that sale sells pardon from himself. Though you and all the rest so grossly led this juggling witchcraft with revenue cherish, yet I alone do me oppose against the Pope, and count his friends my foes.
Then, by the lawful power that I have, thou shalt stand cursed and excommunicate, and blessed shall he be that doth revolt from his allegiance to an heretic. And meritorious shall that hand be called, canonized and worshipped as a saint, that takes away by any secret course thy hateful life.
Oh, lawful let it be, that I have room with Rome to curse a while. Good Father Cardinal, cry thou amen to my keen curses, for without my wrong there is no tongue hath power to curse him right.
There's law and warrant, lady, for my curse.
And mine too, when law can do no right. Let it be lawful that law bar no wrong. Law cannot give my child his kingdom here, for he that holds his kingdom holds the law. Therefore, since law itself is perfect wrong, how can the law forbid my tongue to curse?
Philip of France, on peril of a curse, let go the hand of that arch heretic and raise the power of France upon his head, unless he do submit himself to Rome.
Look'st thou pale, France? Do not let go thy hand.
Look to that devil, lest that France repent, and by disjoining hands, hell lose a soul.
King Philip, listen to the cardinal.
And hang a calfskin on his recreant limbs.
Well, ruffian, I must pocket up these wrongs because...
Your breeches best may carry them.
Philip, what sayst thou to the cardinal?
What should he say, but as the cardinal?
But thank you, Father, for the difference is purchase of a heavy curse from Rome, or the light loss of England for a friend. Forgo the easier.
That's the curse of Rome.
Louis, stand fast. The devil tempts thee there, in likeness of a new untrimmed bride.
The Lady Constance speaks not from her faith, but from her need.
Oh, if thou grant my need, which only lives but by the death of faith, that must needs infer this principle, that faith would live again by death of need. Oh, then tread down my need and faith mounts up. Keep my need up and faith is trodden down.
The king is moved and answers not to this.
Oh, be removed from him and answer well.
Do so, King Philip. Hang no more in doubt.
Hang nothing but a calfskin, most sweet lout.
I am perplexed and know not what to say.
What canst thou say, but will perplex thee more if thou stand excommunicate and cursed?
Good Reverend Father, make my person yours and tell me how you would bestow yourself. This royal hand and mine are newly knit, and the conjunction of our inward souls, married, in league, coupled, and linked together with all religious strength of sacred vows. The latest breath that gave the sounds of words was deep sworn faith, peace, amity, true love between our kingdoms and our royal selves. And even before these truths, but knew before no longer than we well could wash our hands to clap this royal bargain up of peace. God knows they were besmeared and overstained with slaughter's pencil, where revenge did paint the fearful difference of insensate kings. And shall these hands, so lately purged of blood, so newly joined in love, so strong in both, unyoke this seizure and this kind regret? Play fast and loose with faith, so jest with heaven, make such unconstant children of ourselves, and now again to snatch our palm from palm, unswear faith sworn, and on the marriage bed of smiling peace to march a bloody oath and make a riot on the gentle brow of true sincerity? Holy sir, my reverend father, let it be not so. Out of your grace devise order, impose some gentle order, and then we shall be blessed to do your pleasure and continue friends.
All form is formless, order orderless, save what is opposite to England's love. Therefore, to arms! Be champion of our church, or let the church, our mother, breathe her curse, a mother's curse on her revolting son. France, thou mayst hold a serpent by the tongue, a chafed lion by the mortal paw, a fasting tiger, safer by the tooth than keep in peace that hand which thou dost hold.
I may disjoin my hand, but not my faith.
So, make thou faith an enemy of faith, and like a civil war setst oath to oath, thy tongue against thy tongue. Oh, let thy vow first made to God, first be to God performed. That is, to be the champion of our church. But What since thou sworest is sworn against thyself, and may not be performed by thyself? For that which thou hast sworn to do amiss is not amiss when it is truly done. And being not done, where doing tends to kill, the truth is then most done, not doing it. The better act of purposes mistook is to mistake again. Though indirect, yet indirection thereby grows direct, and falsehood cures, as fire cools fire within the scorched veins of one new burn. It is religion that doth make vows kept, but thou hast sworn against religion. By what thou swearest against the thing thou swearest, and makest an oath the surety by thy truth against an oath. The truth thou art unsure to swear, swears only not to be forsworn. Else, what a mockery should it be to swear? But thou dost swear only to be forsworn, and most forsworn to keep what thou dost swear. Therefore thy later vows against the first is in thyself rebellion to thyself. And better conquest never canst thou make than arm thy constant and thy nobler parts against these giddy, loose suggestions, upon which better part our prayers come in, if thou vouchsafe them. But if not, then know the peril of our curses light on thee, so heavy as thou shalt not shake them off, but in despair die under their black weight.
Rebellion, flat rebellion.
Wilt not be? Will not a calfskin stop that mouth of thine?
Father, to arms!
Upon my wedding day? Against the blood that thou hast married? What shall our feast be kept with slaughtered men? Shall braying trumpets and loud cheerless drums, clamors of hell be measures to our pomp? Oh, husband, hear me. I, alack, how new is husband in my mouth, even for that name, which till this time my tongue did ne'er pronounce. Upon my knee I beg, go not to arms against mine uncle.
Oh, upon my knee, made hard with kneeling, I do pray to thee, thou virtuous Dauphin, alter not the doom forethought by heaven.
Now shall I see thy love. What motive may be stronger with thee than the name of wife?
That which upholdeth him that thee upholds, his honor. Oh, thine honor, Louis, thine honor.
I muse your majesty doth seem so cold, when such profound respects do pull you on.
I will denounce a curse upon his head.
Thou shalt not need. England, I will fall from thee.
Oh, fair return of banished majesty.
Oh, foul revolt of French inconstancy.
France, thou shalt rule this hour within this hour.
Old Time the clock setter, that bald sexton Time. Is it as he will? Well then, France shall rule.
The sun's o'ercrest with blood, fair day adieu. Which is the side that I must go with all? I am with both, each army hath a hand, and in their rage I having hold of both, they whirl asunder and dismember me. Husband, I cannot pray that thou mayest win. Uncle, I needs must pray that thou mayst lose. Father, I may not wish the fortune thine. Grandam, I may not wish thy wishes thrive. Whoever wins on the side shall I lose, assured loss before the match be played.
Lady, with me thy fortunes lie.
There where my fortune lives, there my life dies.
Cousin, go draw our puissance together. France, I am burned up with inflaming wrath, a rage whose heat hath this condition that nothing can allay, nothing but blood. The blood, the dearest valued blood of France.
Thy rage shall burn thee up, and thou shalt turn to ashes, ere our blood shall quench that fire. Look to thyself. Thou art in jeopardy.
No more than he that threats. To arms, let's hie. Act 3, Scene 2, beside the battlefield near Angers. Enter the bastard with Austria's head.
Oh, ow, by my life, this day grows wondrous hot. The merry devil hovers in the sky and pours down mischief. Austria's head lie there, while Philip breathes.
Hubert, keep this boy. Philip, make up. My mother is assailed in our tent in Tain, I fear.
My lord, I rescued her. Her highness is in safety, fear you not. But on, my liege, for very little pains will bring this labor to unhappy end.
So shall it be. Your grace shall stay behind, so strongly guarded. Cousin, look not sad. Thy grandam loves thee, and thy uncle will as dear be to thee as thy father was.
Oh, this will make my mother die with grief.
Cousin, away for England, haste before, and ere our coming, see thou shake the bags of hoarding abbots, imprisoned angels set at liberty. The fat ribs of peace must by the hungry now be fed upon. Use our commission in its utmost force.
Bell, book, and candle shall not drive me back when gold and silver becks me to come on. I leave your highness. Grandam, I will pray, if ever I remember to be holy, for your fair safety. So I kiss your hand.
Farewell, gentle cousin.
Cos, farewell.
Come hither, little kingsman. Hark, a word.
Come hither, Hubert. Oh, gentle Hubert, we owe thee much. Within this wall of flesh there is a soul counts thee her creditor, and with advantage means to pay thy love. And, my good friend, thy voluntary oath lives in this bosom dearly cherished. Give me thy hand. I had a thing to say, that I will fit it with some better tune. My heaven, Hubert, I am almost ashamed to say what good respect I have of thee.
I am much bounden to your majesty.
Good friend, thou hast no cause to say so yet, but you shalt have. And creep night time ne'er so slow, yet it shall come for me to do thee good. I had a thing to say, but I'll let it go. Sun is in the heaven, and the proud day, attended with the pleasures of the world, is all too wanton and too full of gods to give me audience. Now, if the midnight bell did with his iron tongue and brazen mouth sound on into the drowsy race of night, if this same were a churchyard where we stand, and thou possessed with 1,000 wrongs, or if that surly spirit, melancholy, had baked thy blood and made it heavy, thick, which else runs tickling up and down the veins, making that idiot laughter keep men's eyes and strain their cheeks to idle merriment, a passion hateful to my purposes. Oh, or if thou couldst see me without eyes, or hear me without thine ears, and make reply without a tongue, using conceit alone, without eyes, ears, and harmful sound of words, then, in despite of brooded, watchful day, I would into thy bosom pour my thoughts. But I will not. Yet I love thee well, and by my troth, I think thou lovest me well.
So well that what you bid me undertake, though that my death were adjunct to my act, by heaven, I would do it.
Do not I know thou wouldst? Good Hubert. Hubert. Hubert, throw thine eye on yon young boy. I tell thee what, my friend, he is a very serpent in my way, and wheresoe'er this foot of mine doth tread, he lies before me. Dost thou understand me? Thou art his keeper.
And I'll keep him so that he shall not offend your majesty.
Death.
My lord?
A grave.
He shall not live.
Enough. I could be merry now. Hubert, I love thee. Well, I'll not say what I intend for thee, but remember. Madam, fare you well. I'll send those powers o'er to your majesty.
My blessing go with thee.
For England, cousin, go. Hubert shall be your man. Attend on you with all true duty. On, toward Calais. Oh! Act 3, Scene 4, King Philip's tent outside of Angiers. Enter King Philip of France, Louis the Dauphin, and Cardinal Pandolf.
So, by roaring tempests on the flood, a whole armada of convicted sail is scattered and disjoined from fellowship.
Courage and comfort, all shall yet go well.
What can go well when we have run so ill? Are we not beaten? Is not Angiers lost? Arthur taken prisoner? Divers friends slain, and bloody England into England gone? Or bearing interruption, spite of France?
What he hath won, that hath he forfeited. So hot a speed, with such advice disposed, such temperate order in so fierce a cause doth want example. Who hath read or heard of any kindred action like to this?
Well could I bear that England had this praise, so we could find some pattern of our shame. Look who comes here. A grave unto her soul, holding the eternal spirit against her will, in the vile prison of afflicted breath. I prithee, lady, go away with me.
Go now see the issue of your peace.
Patience, good lady, comfort, gentle Constance.
No, I defy all counsel, all redress, but that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death, death, oh, amiable, lovely death, that odoriferous stench, sound rottenness, rise forth from the couch of lasting night, thou hate and terror to prosperity. And I will kiss thy detestable bones, and put my eyeballs in thy vaulty brows, and wring these fingers with thy household worms, and stop this gap of breath with fulsome dust, and be a carrion monster like thyself. Come, grin on me, and I will think thou smilest, and buss thee as thy wife, misery's love. Oh, come to me.
Oh, fair affliction, peace.
No, I will not, having breath to cry. Would that my tongue were in the thunder's mouth, then with a passion would I shake the world and rouse from sleep that fell enmity, which cannot hear a lady's feeble voice, which scorns a modern invocation.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Thou art not holy to belie me so. I am not mad. This hair I tear is mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were. For then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, Cardinal. For being not mad, but sensible of grief, my reason part produces reason, how I may be delivered to these woes, and teach me to kill or hang myself. If I were mad, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouts were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Bind up those tresses. Oh, what love I note in the fair multitude of those her hairs. where but by chance a silver drop hath fallen, even to that drop 10,000 wiry friends do glue themselves in sociable grief, like true inseparable faithful loves, sticking together in calamity.
To England, if you will.
Bind up your hairs.
Yes, that I will. And wherefore will I do it? I tore them from their bonds and cried aloud, oh, that these hands could so redeem my son, as they have given these hairs their liberty. But now I envy at their liberty and will again commit them to their bonds, because my poor child is a prisoner. And Father Cardinal, I have heard you say that we shall see and know our friends in heaven. If that be true, I shall see my boy again. For since the birth of Cain, the first male child, to him that did but yesterday aspire, there was not such a gracious creature born. But now will canker sorrow eat my bud and chase the native beauty from his cheek, and he will look as hollow as a ghost, as dim and meager as an argue's fit, and so he'll die, and rising so again, where I shall meet him in the court of heaven, I shall not know him. Therefore never, never must I behold my pretty Arthur more.
You hold too heinous a respect of grief.
He talks to me that never had a son.
You are as fond of grief as of your child.
Grief fills the room up of my absent child, lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out his vacant garments with his form. Then have I reason to be fond of grief? Fare you well. You had you such a loss as I could give better comfort than you do. I will not keep this form upon my head when there is such disorder in my wit. Oh Lord, my boy, my Arthur, my fair son, my life, my joy, my food, my whole world, my widow comfort, and my sorrow's cure.
I fear some outrage, and I'll follow her.
There's nothing in this world can make me joy. Life is as tedious as a twice-told tale, vexing the dull ear of a drowsy man. And bitter shame hath spoiled the sweet world's taste, that it yields not but shame and bitterness.
Before the curing of a strong disease, even in the instant of repair and health, the fit is strongest. Evils that take leave on their departure most of all show evil. What have you lost by losing of this day?
All days of glory, joy, and happiness.
If you had won it, certainly you had. No, no. When fortune means to men most good, she looks upon them with a threatening eye. 'Tis strange to think how much King John hath lost in this which he accounts so clearly won. Are you not grieved that Arthur is his prisoner?
As heartily as he is glad he hath him.
Your mind is as youthful as your blood. Now, hear me speak with a prophetic spirit, for even the breath of what I mean to speak shall blow each dust, each straw, each little rub out of the path which shall directly lead thy foot to England's throne. And therefore, mark, John hath seized Arthur, and it cannot be that whiles warm life plays in that infant's veins, the misplaced John should entertain an hour 1 minute, nay, 1 quiet breath of rest. A scepter snatched with an unruly hand must be as boisterously maintained as gain. And he that stands upon a slippery place makes nice of no vile hold to stay him up. That John may stand, then Arthur needs must fall. So be it, for it cannot be but so.
But what shall I gain by young Arthur's fall?
You, in the right of Lady Blanche, your wife, may then make all the claim that Arthur did.
And lose it life and all as Arthur did.
Green you are and fresh in this old world. John lays you plots. The times conspire with you, for he that steeps his safety in true blood shall find but bloody safety and untrue. This act, so evilly born, shall cool the hearts of all his people and freeze up their zeal, that none so small advantage shall step forth to check his reign, but they will cherish it. No natural elation in the sky, no scope of nature, no distempered day, no common wind, no customed event, but they will pluck away his natural cause and call them meteors, prodigies and signs, abortives, presages, and tongues of heaven, plainly denouncing vengeance upon John.
Maybe he will not touch young Arthur's life, but hold himself safe in his imprisonment.
Oh, sir. When he shall hear of your approach, if that young Arthur be not gone already, even at that news, he dies. And then the hearts of all his people shall revolt from him and kiss the lips of unacquainted shame, and pick strong matter of revolt and wrath out of the bloody fingers ends of John. Oh, methinks I see this hurley all on foot. And oh, what better needs for you than I have named? The bastard Falconbridge is now in England, ransacking the church, offending charity. If but a dozen French were there in arms, they would be as a call to train 10,000 English to their side, or as a little snow tumbled about anon becomes a mountain. Oh, noble Dauphin, go with me to the king. It's wonderful what may be wrought out of their discontent, now that their souls are full of offense. For England go, I will wet on the king.
Strange reasons make strange actions. Let us go. If you say aye, the king will not say no.